October 10th, time is 6 p.m., and I'd like to call this meeting of the Impact Fee Advisory Committee to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Dipple.
Here.
Delory.
Here.
Mata.
Here.
Stiegel.
Here.
Onken.
Here.
Shield.
Here.
James. Serrato.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Item 3, minutes, 3A, Impact Fee Advisory Committee meeting minutes for the meeting on March 28th, 2023. We require a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Motion a second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Mata and a second from Commissioner Stiegel for the minutes. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 All against, say nay. Okay, no opposed, motion carries. Citizen comments. Item 4. Item 4A, citizen comment period. The Impact Fee Advisory Committee welcomes comments from citizens early in the agenda of meetings. Speakers are provided with an opportunity to speak during this time period on any agenda item or any other matter concerning city business, but they must observe the 3-minute time limit. Having no comments, we'll close comment period. Item number 5, consider and possible action. Item 5A, receive a report, hold a discussion, and provide a recommendation to City Council regarding the amended impact fee report and proposed impact fee for the city's water and wastewater utilities. Do we have a presentation? Mr. Grady? Thank you.
So good evening. I'm back. We maybe thought that we were done, but one more hurdle to go over. I'm here tonight. The purpose of this meeting is we're going to present and discuss the updated impact fee report based on comments received. So just to kind of fill you in on what has happened since that March 28th meeting, this was slated to go to City Council and have the public hearing. In the interim between that March 28th meeting and it going to council, we received some comments on the report, primarily from the Home Builders Association of Austin. We took those comments, we provided draft results, or draft responses to those comments. We've met with the Home Builders Association of Austin. We walked through our responses to their comments. After that meeting, we had an additional meeting with city staff to discuss just a couple of other issues that were somewhat related to the Home Builders Association comments. And then so we've incorporated all of those changes in the report, in the revised report that y'all have. And I'm going to kind of go through those. A lot of those didn't make any changes to the impact fee, but some did. And so we do have a new revised impact fee, and because of that, because we have a new report, we have to have y'all as the Impact Fee Advisory Committee, Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, reapprove the report, and then we will send it back to City Council. So just kind of to walk you through the changes really quickly, we did include tables. You can go to the next slide. We'd included tables that show how future growth was calculated. That was one of the HBA comments. We've now included that as Appendix B. We have also included discussion in the text explaining why the water and wastewater populations are different. And that's simply just because the city has a larger water service area, or excuse me, a smaller water service area than it does a wastewater service area. There are other water providers that are providing service to customers, but there are no wastewater providers that are similar. You can go to the next slide. We recalculated the wastewater growth or the population and connections to be consistent with water. At one point, we had a little bit higher growth in the number of wastewater connections, so now we've made those the same. That did have a change in the impact fee, and generally that caused the wastewater impact fee to go up whenever we lowered the population growth, because if you remember, our impact fee calculation is a cost divided by the number of new LUEs over a 10-year period. So we lowered the number of LUEs, so that made the wastewater fee go up. You go to the next slide. We've also added Appendix C, which basically just shows all of the current assets, their capacities, and cost data if we have it. The other change that we did make related to Appendix C is we went back and worked with the city's engineers and looked at what was a realistic water supply during times of drought. And it was determined that water supply from the wells really is not reliable during times of drought. As well, we also reduced the available supply from GBRA, just an acknowledgement that during times of drought that they're going to request that the city cut back supply in response to their drought management plan. We also added Appendix E, which just provides an explanation of the rate credit methodology that we used. And that was in response to the HBA comments. Go to the next slide. So the other big change that we did make in response to these comments is we did change some of the water cost allocations. In most of the cases, this lowered the water impact fee. So I tried to highlight the ones that have changed in yellow. The largest one that we changed was the Alliance supply, both the part associated with water supply and the part that is associated with water treatment. We did this in response of basically acknowledging the fact that while yes, that is going to be a future supply for the city, it's not a current supply. Part of that supply could be used to the benefit of current residents. Basically acknowledging the fact, this is the discussion that we had with city staff. Basically acknowledging the fact that if that water supply were available, say this past summer, for example, that the city would not have had to enter water use restrictions. So there is some benefit to that supply for your existing customers as well as being a future supply for new customers. So in recognition of that, we've allocated 25% of the cost to current customers and 75% of the cost to new growth. Likewise, for ground storage and water transmission, we are kind of acknowledging that the city may be a little bit behind on that infrastructure, at least in certain parts of town. And so once some of these projects that we have in our CIP for ground storage and water transmission are constructed, that there will be some benefit either through just redundancy or just eliminating some bottlenecks in the water supply system for the existing customers. As well as new customers. So in acknowledgement of that, we've basically assumed that we've assigned 10% of the cost of all of those projects to existing customers, which lowered the percentage of those costs that we were including in our impact fee calculation. The next slide goes through the same thing for water. We did change a few of the water cost allocations, and this is predominantly just related to that change in our wastewater growth rates and lowering that a little bit. We did lower some of these cost allocations as well going into the impact fee, and so that would generally create a lower wastewater impact fee. The next slide just kind of sums up what the impact fee is now. So now looking at it, the total water and wastewater impact fee is $12,514 per LUE. Whenever we came to you on March 28th, that fee was, I believe it was $14,155 per LUE. So making all these changes, it did reduce the impact fee a little bit, about $1,500 per LUE. The last slide just shows kind of where you would fall if we compare you to other cities around you, and that your ranking didn't really change because of this. Again, your current impact fee is $6,361 per LUE, and what we would have that fee go up to now is $12,514. Go to the next slide. So we're kind of back where we were at this point. Again, you have an updated report in front of you that includes these changes. It includes those additional appendices that we went through. We would ask that tonight that you consider approving that report as it has been amended. I did still keep the same language in there that you as a body would also recommend that council adopt the maximum impact fee, which would be this new reduced value, as well as revisit the impact fee in 3 years. That was language that was included and at that March 28th meeting, and so I've kept that language in there as well. If the report as amended is approved tonight, then our schedule is that council would set the public hearing date at their October 17th meeting. That public notice should go out no later than October 25th, and then on December 5th, City Council would hold the public hearing and perhaps take action on the impact fee. So I apologize to y'all for this being a little bit longer process than what we had anticipated, but we did want to acknowledge the comments and work with them as much as we could to try to resolve those comments and any issues that they may have had. So that's where we're at right now.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Any questions for Mr. Reed? Go ahead.
All right. First of all, so why did you even out the water and wastewater growth when we know that some of the city of Kyle that gets wastewater doesn't get water? So why did you even out that growth when you know it's smaller?
So the wastewater system is projected to grow by a greater number of customers, but we have it growing at the same percentage rate, which is about 4.5%, I believe, per year, 4.8% a year.
Okay, so you kept it as a percentage, and
Yes,
that's, okay.
so it's the same percentage as water, but as a utility, you will add more wastewater connections over the next 10 years
Okay.
than you will water connections.
All right, and then I have another question, but if somebody else has a
No,
question.
go ahead.
Okay.
You have the floor.
If you'll go back a couple of slides, this one, yeah. So did you look at also comparing our other water entities within the city of Kyle on this chart, like County Line or the former Monarch Water, just to keep that in?
Honestly, ma'am, no, we did not look at those.
Okay.
I'm not sure what county lines, and I don't know what county lines impact fees are off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. Let me see. I know for wastewater, it's $22.50 per LUE. Water, he has a number here that I don't believe, so I think he may have typed in wrong, but I was just curious. Okay. I was just, yeah, why we didn't include that on this table. That's it, but I'm
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Reed? All right, Mr. Reed, I've got a couple questions. Can you go back to the slide where we were looking at new water projects? Can we roll back to that? Yeah, this one. So can you explain to me again how, for proposed projects, a percentage is allocated to the population as it is, rather than for growth?
So this was something that we discussed with city staff. It was and we kind of went back and forth on that ourselves as to what is the best way to handle that. This was, and honestly, this was in part due to a comment made by the HBA as well. Our rationale and the city staff's rationale was that, again, if we take the Alliance supply, while yes, it is a future project, there were water use restrictions and have been water use restrictions in the past on your residents because your supply is limited during times of drought. Once this supply comes online, the the idea is that those water use restrictions would not occur, or if you did have to have them, they would not be as severe as they have been in the past. And Leon, you can somewhat correct me if I'm wrong as well, but I believe that Alliance Supply is potentially also going to feed into a different part of the city, which will provide some redundancy and some added benefit for those existing customers. That was our rationale behind that. It's not, I'll admit, it's not common to take new projects and assign some of that cost to existing residents. I am doing another one of these, and we actually had that same discussion for a lift station on the wastewater side, which that they admitted that lift station is currently undersized. And so in that case, we took some of the project costs for a project that hasn't been built, and we allocated it to their existing customers, but it is going to free up a bottleneck in their system. And that was the thinking, but with most of those other projects, the ground storage and water transmission projects, is that there are very limited to no excess capacity in some of those projects or in some of those areas. And so by constructing these projects, the primary benefit is going to be to new customers, but it will either provide more redundancy in supply to some existing customers within certain parts of the city, as well, again, just by eliminating some bottlenecks. So there will be some benefit to existing customers from those projects. I don't know if that answered your question.
It partially did. So I'm going to say that I just went through the background here. So on 16th of March, you made a presentation for an impact fee calculation of $12,037 for water and $6,061.71 for wastewater, total of $18,208. Then that was reduced based on, I don't recall, I wasn't at the second meeting, but the next meeting, it was reduced to $79.84 for the water and $61.71, stayed the same for wastewater, totaling $14,155. And now our presentation here tonight is water $61.69, wastewater $63.45, totaling $12,514 overall. That's a reduction by my calculations from your original estimates or original calculations based on the LUEs going forward, reduction for city revenues of about $55 million. So it's a very significant reduction here. And I'm trying to see, I understand the Home Builders Association fighting for their side. Who's fighting for the city? Is this I come to one of two conclusions. You either didn't get the calculations right, or somebody's moving the goalposts on you. And it sounds like the latter. So I'm having a hard time going along with this. I feel like the Home Builders Association is fighting for their side, but who's fighting for the city? I don't know. I don't know if I can vote for this. I don't know if it's a fair assessment for our residents that are here now, because less impact fees means more property taxes for those projects. So, is there maybe Mr. Barber? Can you respond to this? Do you feel like this is a fair assessment? This second reduction here.
Good evening, board members. Leon Barber, city engineer. When we first saw those numbers coming in, we thought they were extremely high. But then when you think about the work that we need to do with the Alliance project, we've got 3.5 million gallon storage coming at 1626. The cost for that, and with all the planning that we need to do for that system, is $14, $15, $16 million. And that's just that one site. And we have other take points that we're working on, other elevated storage tanks. We're building 500,000 on the ground, $1 million in the air on County Road 158. That's another $14, $15 million right there. So the water didn't surprise me that it went up that high. On the wastewater side, the next treatment phase that we're doing at the plant, that's another 100 million, is what I'm hearing. So those numbers did not surprise me too much, but I knew that we would be going up. My concern was that either we pay for these improvements through impact fees, or the rate holders have to pay that. So when in talking to our director of finance, obviously, what do you think he likes to see? He likes to see those big impact fees. Now, he's not here to defend himself, but I can tell you he likes to see those bigger numbers. So we were concerned when we got that HBA, those comments. We wanted to make sure that we made the right decisions, did the right things. So we did look at it really hard and make sure that we were looking at everything that we were supposed to look at. If it didn't require that we raise the fees or lower the fees, we didn't go in any direction to make that assumption. So based on what Grady's provided to us, I feel that those are good numbers. Yeah, we're about, third or fourth on the list of the higher fees, but we have a lot of improvements to make in the future. Again, the key point that I also want to remind you is that the recommendation was made to go every 3 years on this, and I think we waited too long. It was, almost 6 years now? So we should have probably been doing this 3 years ago, just to wait where we could stay current. So I think that's the most important thing that we're getting out of this impact fee raises, that we need to make sure we look at it in 3 more years and make sure we're on the right track and the numbers are right. So that's the only thing I wanted to add to you.
Thank you. Thank you for your information. Any more discussion or any more questions for Mr. Reed or any city staff? Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion to recommend to City Council that we have a revised assessment of $61.69 for water and $63.45 for wastewater impact fees, totaling $12,514, and that we also have another review of impact fees in 3 years' time. Do I have a motion for that? I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Mata. I have a second.
I second that motion.
Okay. Mr. Dipple seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
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 All against, say nay. Nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. I guess we don't have Commissioner Uncle. She dropped off.
No, she was, she said
Oh,
it's 4
and
to
she
2.
said,
4 to 2.
okay. Motion carries 4-2.
Oh, fine.
Restate the bill?
Restart. It was 5 to 2.
Oh, 5-2, sorry.
Sorry.
Motion carries 5-2. Thank you. Okay, item 6, adjournment. Having no further business, meeting of the Impact Fee Advisory Committee is concluded. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion from Commissioner Stiegel. Can I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Serrano, second. All in favor? Say aye.
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 All against? Say nay. Motion passes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.